have questions, put them in the chat box and we'll respond during the Q&A or via email after the webinar. A link to the replay will be sent to you to share with your colleagues after the webinar. Okay, let's get started. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Dan, for the introduction. Yes, so today we are here to look at the advanced analog layout training offered by IC Mass Design, which is now delivered in a self-paced e-learning format. I want to start by welcoming everybody to the webinar today. I know we have people joining us from all over the world, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are joining us from. And I'm just going to deliver a few PowerPoint slides before we get into the actual product itself. The product itself being the e-learning product, which I'd like to share with you all today. So just a little bit of history before I get into that. IC Mass Design has been providing training since the company was founded back in 2002. Between 2002 and 2020, we trained over 5,000 engineers from 50 plus countries attending our live in-classroom training. So up until 2020, all of our training courses were in a classroom somewhere in the world. Quite often it was in Dublin, but quite often it was also within our clients' training rooms within California or within Germany or within the Far East or wherever in the world that the engineers were that required the training. 2020, as I'm sure we all remember, the onset of COVID meant that lots of things had to change. And one of the things that definitely couldn't happen was in classroom training with multiple people. So we had to pivot our training offering very, very quickly during 2020. And we invested in an interactive whiteboard and we started to deliver our courses still live, but we started to deliver them over Zoom. And we try to create a classroom environment as much as we can. So we use things like a strict cameras on policy, and we continue to use the training method that we'd always used, which was to chalk and talk. So we don't deliver our training courses and never have delivered our training courses in a PowerPoint kind of delivery. It's always been engineering led with our Chief Technology Officer delivering the training in a chalk and talk format. Since 2020, we've delivered 50 of these training courses and we've delivered this kind of training to 1,000 plus engineers. Included in the people who've had our training are 8 of the top 10 analog IC suppliers, 8 of the top 10 fabless semiconductor companies, 3 of the top 5 EDA providers, and many universities and research institutes. And some of the feedback that we've received over our 22 years of delivering training is down the right-hand side of this slide, which I'll let you digest yourselves. So what is the basis for IC Mass Design's training courses? IC Mass Design, first and foremost, is a services company. So we have 30 plus engineers delivering analog layout expertise to our clients across the world on a day-to-day basis. In the 20 plus years of delivering these services, we've worked with over 200 companies, and we've helped them to deal with the challenges that people face in the day-to-day practice of doing analog layout, moving between technology nodes, advancing to more advanced technologies as they go. By providing these services, one of the things that we've been able to understand is what companies have been doing really, really well, and also what bad habits companies have perhaps developed in their years of doing analog layout. And in developing our training courses, we've tried to focus very heavily on the things that people have done well and try and eradicate the things that have done badly. So we focus on analog layout as an engineering discipline, and in our training courses, we try to encourage the engineers to ask why. And the reason why we do this is what we found over our years of working with layout engineers is they tend to enter these large companies and they tend to be trained by one of the veterans of the company. So they tend to be told, we do it this way and we do it this way because that's the way we've always done it, and we've taped out lots of silicon and we know that it works. But what we try and do is we try and get the engineer to question, well, that's the way we've always done it and it works, but why do we do it that way? Try and look at the physics of silicon and try and understand exactly why things are done in a certain way, and whether when you've moved through the technology nodes, it still makes sense to do it that way. Over the last 22 years, our content has continuously evolved. So what we're looking at today is our advanced analog course. It looks quite different to what it did when we first started delivering it 22 years ago, because methods have changed, and we've continuously evolved our content as we've moved through those years. What I'm delighted to share with you today is the launch of our advanced analog training course, which for the first time is delivered in a self-paced e-learning format. So we've partnered with a company in Ireland who have helped us to deliver this through their e-learning platform. So it's not something that's brand new that we've developed. It's a tried and tested platform. And because it's now in a self-paced e-learning format, you can integrate this around your own work schedules, and it's now unaffected by people in different time zones. So one of the largest complaints that we've had from our clients historically is we schedule our training courses in a time zone. More often than not, that time zone happens to be a European time zone because of where we're based. And it means that our Californian clients have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning if they want to attend one of our training courses. People have gotten up at 2 o'clock in the morning to attend our training courses. That's how highly thought of our training is amongst our clients. But what this allows you to do for the very first time is to access through a portal and sit this training in a self-paced format, which is not dependent on your time zone. So a quick overview of what the course is. It's a comprehensive course which is aimed at analog layout engineers and designers who are interested in having a better understanding of analog layout. In fact, historically, in delivering this advanced analog course, it's been about a 50-50 split between layout engineers and designers who are interested in gaining a better understanding of the challenges faced by analog layout engineers. And certainly as you move through the technology nodes, what we found is layout engineers and design engineers working together in conjunction with each other produces better silicon quicker and more efficiently through better collaboration. So the structure of the course I'm going to show you is broken down into 7 main subject areas, which I'll show you shortly. There are approximately 100 lessons with knowledge checks throughout the course to check your understanding and to make sure that you're understanding the content. And it's approximately 20 hours of content within the training course itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually move across to the product itself, and I'm going to give you a live demonstration of how this training course works if you were a person who wanted to subscribe to or to have your employer buy this for you to help with your ongoing training needs. So I'm going to start by logging in. It's a simple email address and password to log in. And what we see here are the courses that are available right now. So the first thing that we ask everybody to do attending our training courses is to complete a copyright and usage policy. Now, anybody who's attended any of our live Zoom courses in the past would have had to complete this as well. It's simply a protection of our intellectual property, asking you to sign a commitment that you will not attempt to record or distribute any of the content that you see within the system here. And then once you've completed that, you see the courses available. So right now we have advanced analog layout available, and under development right now we have a design for layout course as well, which should be coming very, very soon. So I'm going to start out by opening the advanced analog course, and as we get into it, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how the course works. So first of all, we see in the middle of the screen here, there are some notes about completing your lessons and topics. And what we see here in these notes is you can download the notes for each subject area. As I said, there are 7 subject areas within the course which are listed here. So we've got CMOS base layers, device layout, interconnect parasitics, matching, analog building blocks, latch up, and substrate noise isolation. And the course notes for each of these sections is downloaded at the beginning of each section. So as you go through that section, you can follow along with the notes to make sure that you're getting a good understanding. Keeping track of your progress. So as you move through the course, at the end of each video content, you have a mark complete button. If you click that, then the percentage that you see here in the background, of course, goes up. So about 100 videos, it's not 1% per video because some videos are longer than others. But as you move through the course, you can go from, you can see how far through the course you are and how much further you have to go. The last bit before I get into it is to choose your learning style. So You can choose if you have a number of hours to sit down and you really want to dedicate 2 or 3 hours to the training, you can choose uninterrupted video. What uninterrupted video will do is it will take an entire section and it will play all of that content up to the knowledge check, so that you can sit it and really deep dive and concentrate. However, if you find that you've got maybe a shorter space of time, like perhaps 15 or 20 minutes, you might choose to go chapter by chapter. So one of the beauties of delivering this through self-paced is it's accessible on a cell phone, it's accessible on an iPad. So people who've got a commute to work on a train or a bus might choose to sit a couple of chapters while they're on their way to work, and then you would choose the chapter by chapter approach. And at any point during the course, you can flick between chapter by chapter or uninterrupted video. So I'm just going to close the notes section there, and I'm going to hit the continue button here and get into the actual portal itself. And what we can see down the left-hand side of the screen is a list of all of the topics and all of the subtopics from under there. So as we saw previously, we've got CMOS base layers, which is broken down into substrate, diffusion and polysilicon, and cross sections. And then in each subsection, there are more sections which deep dive into each of the subjects. So we can see here I've got a tick next to the ones that I've watched because I've marked them as complete. But if we were to start with substrate, just as an example, and the first thing I want to do is download my PDF notes. It just opens up a separate screen and downloads like anything would. And as I said, it is your email address that is the password for that. And we can see as we get into that, it's a series of handwritten notes, very neatly produced, which give us a description of all of the sections of training as we go down here. And if you have that next to you as you're going through the course, you can of course follow along with the notes and make your own notes on top of those. What I'll do is I'll just click on the second section here, substrate where mobility matters, and we will look at how the training is actually delivered. So you're not going to be able to hear the video here, but I just want to show you the look and feel of the video, and this is what you're going to see when you go through the training course. So the first thing we see here is that this particular section is 8 minutes and 26 seconds. So all of the videos, of which there are 100, are anywhere between 6 and 18 minutes. So there's nothing too long, nothing that can't hold your attention, and they are all the same kind of format, which is our trainer, who is our CTO, Kieran White, delivering the training in a chalk and talk style. So what we'll see here, again, I can make this full screen. So we're going to see Kieran introducing the topic here, and then I'll just skip the video forward a little bit, and what we see then is Kieran stood in front of the interactive whiteboard on the left hand of the screen, and you can hear him talking as he's there, but what you can see on the screen as well is everything that he's drawing. So we call it chalk and talk. I'm sure you're all familiar with the terminology. Rather than us just going through PowerPoint slide after PowerPoint slide after PowerPoint slide, it's a chalk and talk and learning in that particular method. So I'm just going to come out of that and highlight another couple of things. So there are a lot of people sitting our training where English is perhaps not their first language, so they may choose to slow the trainer down a little, so you can reduce the speed to 0.75. Or if it's a topic that you feel like you are quite familiar with and you just want to get through it a little quicker than usual, you could choose to speed up that delivery as well. So and then when you get to the very end of the video, as I said previously, you can click on Mark Complete, and it'll take you back to your list, and we can see there substrate where mobility matters is also now marked as complete. Just moving forward a little, I did say that there were knowledge checks throughout, and anywhere where you see this little symbol of a piece of paper with a red pen, that is where there is a knowledge check. And I've picked out the matching conclusion as the knowledge check that I want to share with you today. So I'm just going to get into that knowledge check. It's got a strike through it because I have already sat this knowledge check, but if you were sitting it for the first time, it would not have that strike through it. So I'm just going to open that, and the knowledge check for matching has 7 questions in it, and I'm just going to go through and quickly answer those just to demonstrate how the knowledge checks work. So I'm actually not going to worry too much about whether I get all of the answers correct here. But what we can see is most of them are true or false, with an unsure as well. Now you may ask, why would we have unsure? That's for us in ICMask Design to track whether we've delivered the content effectively. So if we look back at the end of the first year of selling this and lots of people have answered unsure to question number 6, we might want to go back and look at the answer to that within the content so we can see whether we can make that answer a little clearer to help people pass the knowledge check. But I'm just going to complete this last one here. Some of them are not true or false, where they ask you to do something a little more complicated. But I'm just going to finish that assessment, and what we can see here is I actually got 6 out of 7 correct on that one, which is 85%. Now, the pass mark on all of these knowledge checks is 70% or above. So on this one, I have passed this knowledge check. I can click on show the answers, and we can see not only was the answer correct, true or false, but also the feedback on why the answer is what it is. So we can see on this one about antenna DRC checks. We can see the antenna DRC checks, what they look for are hard failures, etc. So we explain exactly what the answer to that question is, so that if you did want to go back and resit that test, you can do that. So just moving down, the question that I actually got wrong was question number 4, and I do get the opportunity to go back and correct that. So these are my answers, and this is the correct answer listed here. So it does, of course, allow you as the trainee to go back and get all of those questions right second time without having to go back and rewatch the content. However, we do advise that you do go back and rewatch the content, so that not only do you get your knowledge check correct, but you do have a good understanding of the content. And the other reason why you need to go back is right at the very end of the course, under course summary, we have a final knowledge check. And I'm just going to go into that final knowledge check here and click on that. And what we see here is 10 questions. Now, these 10 questions are a randomly selected selection of questions from all of the previous knowledge checks. And this is why I'm saying that it's important that you ensure that you have got a good understanding and you have got a true 70% pass mark in all of the previous knowledge checks. Now, if you go through your final knowledge check and you, again, I'm just randomly selecting answers here. I'm not necessarily making sure that I have them correct, just to demonstrate how this works. So I've answered all of my 10 questions, and I'm just going to finish the assessment. So what we can see here is I got half of them right. So even guessing randomly, I got 50%. But what that means is, because I didn't get 70% and above, the product will not issue me with a certificate. So I would have to go back and restart that assessment to get my certificate, and it is going to choose another set of random 10 questions. So it is important when we get to the end of this that you have understood the content in order to be able to secure your certificate at the end of the course. That's pretty much what I want to show you in terms of the product itself. So I'm just going to click back over to the presentation and just talk a little bit more with the last couple of slides. So some additional benefits that you get here is, during your license period, you'll be able to go back and view these videos as many times as you want. So if you've completed the course and you've got your certificate, but you want to go back and re-watch the section on matching, you can do that. As I said, it is a flexible way of learning. You can study as much as you want, you can study as little as you want, and you can choose when and where you complete that study. Again, we're no longer bound by live delivery schedules. So you folks from California don't need to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to attend one of our live deliveries. You can sit it whenever you choose, whether that's 2 o'clock in the morning, that's up to you, but you could sit it during your working day, or, as I said earlier, on your commute. Anybody who perhaps sat our advanced analog course in the past, this is expanded content. So the advanced analog course was 5 4-hour sessions, which is the equivalent of 20 hours, which is the same amount of content which we're delivering here. However, we haven't had to stop here and answer questions. We haven't had to stop here and have 10-minute breaks every hour so that people can refresh themselves. So there is expanded content in here, and we have tried to cover answers to all of the common questions that have come up when we've been delivering this training course live over the last number of years. Your content, your notes are personalized, so the notes that you saw me download are watermarked with your name and email address. As your certificate of completion is also a digital certificate which can be shared on LinkedIn or on your social media. We have a clear delivery and diction with adjustable speed, which I demonstrated for you there, and we have a customer administration for multi-participant learning. So if we have a large company who wants to buy multiple accesses for all of their engineers, the administrator within the organization can view the progress that each of those engineers are making as they go through the training. So it'll tell you that engineers 1, 2, and 3 are on 50%, engineers 3, 4, and 5 have completed the course and have their certificates, and engineers 7 through 10 haven't yet started the course. So the person who's administrating can encourage them to get through the training. So that's all I wanted to talk about in terms of the presentation and the demonstration. So Dan, perhaps you can let me know if there have been any questions at this stage.
Yeah, great presentation. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
First question, what kind of support is available to users of the e-learning platform?
Yeah, it's a good question, because obviously we don't have the ability to stop and ask questions of the trainer, which people who've experienced our live training would have had in the past. So what we've done is we've set up an email address, which is elearning@icmaskdesign.com. That goes to myself, but it also goes to a number of the engineers. So if you have a technical question which you feel like you really need an answer to before you can move on with the training, you can ask that. The reason why I'm on it is if you need support with the product, or if you need support with usability or with your password or anything like that, you can come to me and I'll be able to action those things. So that email address is elearning@icmaskdesign.com, and we'll support you how we can through that.
And if I had already seen a live delivery of this training, is there value in the e-learning product?
There is, yes. I mean, if you sat this course a couple of months ago, then perhaps wait a little while before trying the self-paced e-learning version. However, there is expanded content. So as I said, we have tried to cover off all of the questions that have been asked of us during our live deliveries of the training. We've tried to include that in the content, but yes, there may be additional questions now. But yes, there is value in sitting this again, and we do offer, for anybody who has sat a live version of the course within the last 3 years, we are giving a sizable discount from the cost of the product.
Is this course aimed exclusively at analog layout engineers?
Yes, it's an analog layout course. However, we do find that lots of companies do encourage their designers to come and sit this course as well. We do find that where design and layout have a closer relationship and a stronger collaboration, for those organizations, it does produce better silicon with less revisions. So yes, we very much do encourage, and sometimes CAD people as well have attended our course as well. I think about 5% of the attendees of our course have been CAD engineers, but predominantly analog layout engineers and analog design engineers would be the main targets for the content.
And what if we have technical questions after the course?
Yeah, so what we're doing in the early stages, now that we've released the product, is we are going to have quarterly Q&A sessions with the trainer. Okay, so if you have sat the course in August, it may be that we have one of our Q&A sessions scheduled for September. Anybody who has had access to the content within that quarter will be invited to attend the Q&A session. If you can't attend the Q&A session, we will also, of course, be recording it. And you can send your questions in advance. So when we're scheduling the Q&A sessions, we will be sending out an email to everybody who sat the course and asking them if they have any questions. If they don't, they can still attend the Q&A session to benefit from the answers to the questions that other people come up with. But certainly for now, we think that we'd like to give people the option to ask our trainer technical questions. So we are going to have these quarterly Q&A sessions scheduled in order for people to come and ask those questions live.
Okay. If we buy access for multiple employees, can we see their progress through the content?
You can. So that can be done in two ways. As I highlighted on the previous slide, the one way to do it is to have an administrator within your organization. So a lot of the larger organizations do have a training manager or a training department who will be able to access the back end of our product and will be able to see progress of those engineers. However, if you're a layout manager with a team of 5 layout engineers and you buy access for all of them, but you're not really interested in having access to the online portal, we can do it for you. So we'll be checking anyway to make sure that your engineers are progressing through the content during the time that you have access to it. But anytime that you're interested in knowing how far they've got, you can just get in touch with us, either me directly or with that e-learning email address to ask what progress have the engineers made through that content, and we can provide that, no problem at all.
Okay, final question, James. How do customers normally engage with IC Mass Design?
So it's through me. So I'm the sales director at IC Mass Design. I deal with our services business. I also deal with our training business. I've just flicked to the next slide here because we have my contact details up on the screen, my email address. We also have the pricing for the product itself. So this product here is at a list price of €2,500, which is the equivalent of $2,700 US. And if you do have groups of 5 or above, group discounts do start to kick in up to groups of 30 and above would be as much as 35% off that list price. So there are quite sizable discounts where you have quite a sizable layout and design team if they're all interested in benefiting from this content.
Great. Thank you everyone for attending the SemiWiki webinar series, and have a good day.